Let me ask you something. You went to school, you got the degree, you got the job, you have been promoted, maybe even twice. And by every measure that society gave you, you are doing well. But here's the thing that nobody warned you about. There is a ceiling in that building that you go to every day. And it's not the one above your office, it's the one above your income. And the wildest part, that skill that got you that promotion, the very reason your boss respects you, they are keeping you. So stay with me because in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why your income ceiling exists. And more importantly, I am going to show you the crack in it, the one most corporate professionals never even look for. My name is Coach Richard Olo. Welcome to my channel where we turn corporate skills into profitable offers. So let's get into it. Now, before I show you what's really going on, I want to make one thing crystal clear, very crystal clear. This video is not about telling you to quit your job. I'm not one of those guys on the internet screaming at you about 9 to 5 like it's a prison sentence. That's not what this is. In fact, I believe your job might be the smartest asset you have right now. The problem isn't the job. The problem is the box they put around what your skills are worth. That is the problem. See, here's something that took me a while to understand. Your employer didn't hire all of you. They hired a slice of you. The slice they needed. And they've been paying for that slice. While the rest of your genius has been sitting there quietly collecting dust. Think about that. And there's a reason the most valuable professionals I know, I'm talking about the ones who finally broke the income ceiling, they all figure out the same thing. And it wasn't that it was working harder, it wasn't getting another certification, and it definitely wasn't posting on LinkedIn like every single day. I will tell you what it exactly was. But first, you need to understand the 3 steps because until you see them, you can't escape them. So let's discuss the 3 core problems. I call them the 3 traps. Trap number 1, the salary ceiling is by design. That is trap number 1. The salary ceiling is not a bug. It is a future. Think about how salary bands actually work inside the corporation. There is a range, a minimum, a midpoint, and a maximum. And the moment you hit the maximum, it doesn't matter how good you are. The structure itself says this is the most this role is worth. You want more, you need a different role. Think about it. Now, here's the part that nobody tells you about that water cooler. You see, the ceiling was built by people who understood something you are never told. That the value of your skills in the marketplace is not the same as what your employer will pay for them. They know that. Think of it like this. Imagine Nike, yes, found a shoemaker in a small town who was genuinely the best in the world at designing athletic shoes. Brilliant, creative, technically flawless. They hire him, pay him well, maybe even 6 figures, but then they sell his shoes for billions. Think about it that way. They sell his shoes for billions. The gap between what he earns and what his skills generate, that gap is the ceiling I'm talking about. Listen to me. You are that shoemaker. You just haven't opened your own store yet. Remember that. So this is trap number 1. Let's look at trap number 2. The promotion illusion. This is trap number 2. This one stings a little, so I'm going to ask you to stay with me so that we understand this very well. See, you have been told that if you perform well, you get promoted. If you get promoted, you earn more. And if you earn more, you get ahead. So you've been trained to see the ladder as a path. Now, I'm not saying that is wrong. That's not what I'm saying. Promotions are real. Pay rises are real. But here is the illusion inside it. Every rung of the ladder still belongs to someone else's building. Think about it. The higher you climb, the more dependent you become. Because now you are managing people, shielding politics from above and below, and your entire identity, your LinkedIn, your lifestyle, your sense of self-worth, it's all wrapped in a job title that can be restructured away in a 20 minutes meeting. Think about that. Do you never wonder why the smartest, the most capable people you know are still 3 years away from being able to afford the life they actually want? It's because they are climbing fast on someone else's ladder. You know what the people who break through do? They start building their own ladder on the side while they're still inside this building without quitting, without risking everything, without needing anyone's permission. That's what they start doing. Trap number 3 is what I call the expert identity crisis. Trap number 3, this is a sneak one. The one that lives in your head at 11 p.m. when you're lying awake thinking. You look at people selling their knowledge, maybe online, coaches, consultant, course creators, and some part of you thinks, but I am not an expert. Who am I to charge for this? I am still learning. There are people way more qualified than me outside there, you argue. You know what that is? That's the corporate system talking. Because the corporate world trained you to only feel legitimate with the title behind your name and the company stamping your credentials. It is them talking. But here's what I've seen over and over again working with hundreds of professionals. You don't need to be the world's greatest expert. You just need to be a few steps ahead of the person that you are helping. That is it. Just a few steps ahead of them. A few steps ahead of you. You know what you call someone who just ran the first marathon? A marathoner. You know what they call someone who helps you train for the first marathon? A running coach. That is who they call. So you don't need a PhD to help someone do what they haven't already figured out. You need a process. And most of you listening to me, you watching me, you already have one. You just haven't packaged it yet. That is what I'm talking about. Now, I want to tell you about someone, a finance professional, 14 years in corporate, senior manager, runs teams across 3 countries. She knew financial modeling the way most people know how to breathe. Think about it. And she was stuck. Not because she wasn't good enough, because she was doing all of it inside someone else's building, on someone else's team, getting paid a fraction of what that knowledge was actually worth in the open market. She came to me convinced she needed more experience before she could help anyone. Convinced she needed like maybe a bigger brand, a bigger audience, a perfect website, a clear logo. But you know what she needed? She needed clarity, she needed structure, and one offer. Clarity, structure, and one offer. So within 60 days of packaging her skills into a single well-positioned offer, targeted at the exact type of business she already understood, she had a paying client, not a friend, not a family, a real client who found her, saw the offer and said, I need that. Let's be able to talk it, work out for us. So she didn't quit her job to do that. She didn't spend 6 months building a course. She didn't need 10,000 followers. She needed a framework. And the framework is what I'm about to break down for you right now. So if you in a place, get a pen and paper. We are getting into business right now. So here's the point. What do corporate professionals who actually escape the income ceiling have in common? What do they have in common? They don't hustle more. They don't post more content. They don't wait a better time or a promotion or a saving account big enough to feel safe. They make one decision. They decide that their skills are not just an employment asset, that they are a business asset, and they package them accordingly. So think about what you actually know right now. You have probably solved problems in your industry that other people still have. You have navigated things that junior professionals are still trying to figure out. You have perspectives that people outside your company in smaller businesses, in adjacent fields would pay for. Think about that. The income ceiling only holds you when your skill exists only inside one company's walls. The moment you take those skills into the open market, even while staying employed, the ceiling disappears. Oh yes, think about it. The ceiling disappears. But here is the truth most people miss. Here's the truth most people miss. It's not about working more hours. It's not about starting a side hustle that grinds you down. The move is to build what I call a leveraged offer, something that creates income from the knowledge and judgment you already have without consuming your weekends or risking your career. That's what we call a leverage offer. So you know what the difference is between someone who sells their time and someone who sells their expertise. You know the difference? One of them has a job, the other one has a business. And so you can start transitioning from one to the other right now with the skills you already have before you ever leave your job. You don't need to leave your job. You need to start doing this while still in your job. Now, I have spent years working with corporate professionals who wanted to do exactly this. And guess what? Most of the time they were failing to do it because they were missing a system. So I built one. I call it the 2-Offer Builder for Busy Professionals. And the name says what exactly it does. 2 phases. Not quitting, no overwhelm, no build an audience fast nonsense. 2 phases. So let's jump into one. Let's jump into it. Phase 1, I call it the excavation. The excavation. So phase 1, the excavation. This is where we dig into what you already know. Not what you think sounds impressive, but what people actually need from someone with your background. We clarify your skills assets. We identify the specific problems you are best positioned to solve. And we find the people who are already looking for someone like you. That is what we do. So most people skip this phase. They jump straight to building something without knowing what they're building or who it is for. And that's why most offers fail. Not because the person wasn't good, but because the clarity wasn't there. So you're trying to build a house without a blueprint. So clarity isn't the outcome of building. It is the foundation of building. You don't get clarity because you build. It is clarity that gives you the foundation. So then phase 2 is basically the architecture. So we've set up the excavation, now the architecture. This is where you take what we uncovered in phase 1 and turn it into a structured, positioned offer that has a clear result, a clear audience, and a clear reason why you are the right person to deliver it. This is key. Not a course, not a vague consulting package where you're doing everything for everyone, but a specific offer that says, if you have this problem and you're this type of person, I can take you here in this amount of time using this process. That's when the market responds, because it's not looking for a generalist. The market pays premiums for specificity. This is very, very important. You remember in the Iron Man movie, the first movie, when Tony Stark is trapped in a cave with a box of scraps. Do you remember that? So there's a scene where Obadiah Stane, the villain, is furious. And he got all the resources, the factory, the team, the technology. But then he can't replicate what Tony built in a cave. And here is his line. I always come back to this. It really carries a lot of weight to what we're talking about. He says, Tony Stark was able to build this in a cave with a box of scraps. Think about that. And that is you. That is you. You've been building Iron Man suits inside a corporate cave for years. You've been solving enterprise level problems, managing teams, navigating complex decisions with a box of scraps called limited budget and impossible deadlines. You've been doing this. The people who need what you know, they don't have a cave. They don't have a box of traps. They don't have your experience. They will pay good man, I can guarantee you, to access your thinking. Not your hours, your thinking. This is huge. Not your hours, but your thinking. You are already the expert. You just haven't stepped into that identity yet. Now, you've heard this 1,000 times. Now, I know what's running through some of your minds right now. I can hear it through the screen because I hear it all the time. But I don't have time, coach. Look, if you're waiting for a gap in your schedule to start building leverage, I need you to understand something. Leverage is what creates time. Waiting for time to create leverage is the same logic as saying, I will start exercising once I'm healthier. It works the other way around. Think about it. But then you'll also say, coach, I don't have an audience. See, your first client is not going to come from a viral video. They are going to come from a clear offer, the right positioning, and a well-placed conversation. You don't need thousands of followers to get your first 3 clients. You just need clarity. That's what you need. But then, coach, I'm not sure if my skills are worth anything outside my company. Let me ask you this. Have you ever had a colleague come to you with a problem? Something that wasn't technical in your job description, and you solved it in 20 minutes because you have seen it before. And they walked away saying, how did you do that so fast? Think about it. So that's not luck. That's expertise. That's a repeatable skill. That's the beginning of an offer. Right there. So here is what I leave you with. Here is what I leave you with. The income ceiling doesn't break because you work harder. It breaks when you change the structure you operate in. And you don't have to blow up your life to do that. You have skills already. You have experiences. You have a track record. The only thing standing between you where you are right now and a profitable offer is a structured path to get there. Think about it. And that's exactly where the two-phase overbuilder comes in. It's that structured path. So if you're a corporate professional and you are ready to find out what your skills could look like as a profitable position offer without quitting your job, without burning out, without starting from scratch, I want you to click the description in this video. I have put up a live workshop that I run every Tuesday where I take you through phase 1, the excavation. It will help you identify the exact skill sets you already have and the type of offer they could become. Again, it's not a course. It is a working session that you work with me. I answer all questions you have, but I also show you even how to take that to phase 2 and build an offer. So, you went to school for years. You've been developing skills for a decade and more. The idea that those skills only belong to one company's salary band, that idea should end today. That is my hope in this video. That ends today. There are people outside there now who need exactly what you know. They just need you to show up with something structured enough for them to say yes to. That is what we're talking about. So I am saying that go build the offer and I will see in the inside